I'm sick from the Psych Ward.
Yo. Sorry, we were just working on this. All right, let's let Preston in.
It's fucking Protohype.
Wow, Uber Kid coming in clutch.
Fucking trash. You can make a lot of shit.
It's fucking Protohype.
There he is. Yo.
What's
What's
up?
up?
It's fucking Protohype.
So we got this a bunch of gifted subs real quick. I have no idea what's going on. Okay. Dope.
I know I'm following that. I'm following that in the chat right now. It's wild. Hell yeah.
Shout out to Uber Kid. Man, the Twitch grind is crazy.
Protohype.
It's hard.
Fucking feel that, bro.
Dude, I've been loving watching your DJ streams.
It's fucking
I'll shoot
Protohype.
this link over to you real quick.
All right, cool.
That's not the right link. Come on.
Send it.
Oh, I gotta log in first. There we go.
Cool. It's no worries.
It's fucking Protohype.
Sick. Got it. Launched it.
Ooh.
Start listening. It looks like the mono one. Is that possible? No, it should be fine. It should be fine. It should be good.
Oh, here, do this one, or
Fucking
yeah, do this one
Protohype.
because it reset for some reason from everything we did yesterday.
Okay.
I just changed it back to 320. It should be all right.
Awesome. Let me just...
It's fucking
Oh
Pro.
my god, this is going crazy. Boom.
Did we do the share sound thing at the bottom too?
Yeah, so when you share your screen, you want to do share computer sound. I'm so what's up to
Okay.
everybody. What's up, everyone in the chat?
Hello, everybody in the chat.
Jelly.
Who's that?
Jelly lays on chords like a professional. Oh my gosh, stop, buddy. Just lay down. Just lay right there. He's losing his mind.
I know. I had to kick Jasper out because he does the whole fucking in and out thing like all the time.
Dude, I feel you. Same. And just randomly the other day, my door, or not the other day, like a month ago, and I haven't fixed it yet, but my door just like it closes, but it's you can still push it open. And Jelly has a strong nose. And he just full steam, just bonk into the door every time. All right, hold on. Before we get into the sharing, let's chat for a second. Hold
Oh
on.
yeah.
Let's unshare, and we're gonna do some chats. Okay, so shout out to everyone who pulled up. This is the Producer's Corner number 6, featuring the one and only Preston, aka SubDocta, the man. We've gone. I was telling Charmaine today that I think I've known you for 10 years.
I think so, man. Like I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, fuck, when was the first time we met? It had to have been a show that we played together
In Reno.
like, at One Up or War.
At One Up.
Yeah, it was One Up.
One Up
still back
for
then.
sure. Is it not One Up anymore?
It is. I just couldn't remember if, like, you know, fucking name switches and shit. But yeah, man, I think I opened for you and
With weird Steve Emmerich?
yeah, it was Steve. No, the first show was it was you, Wicket the Instigator, Omega, Minnesota, and you, wasn't it?
Wait, at
Oh, that was at the Knit.
at the Knit. No, but that was the same night. I remember.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I remember because I was like, cool. Let me play it the same day as Minnesota and Reno, like about 100 yards down the road. Like
Yeah,
I'm
literally.
fucked at a club 1/4 the capacity. Oh
That was
man.
like the first big show I ever played. Then I remember going over and getting wild with you.
Yeah, I mean, One Up is always the 4 a.m. situation.
That's the cool thing about Nevada, though, man, because like we can have those. You know, the booze doesn't stop. So like,
No, it doesn't.
It's cool for me because I live here, so I don't like fall into that trap. But a lot of people that move here from like
Were you born there?
get fucked. Yeah, I was born like 40 minutes from Reno.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna say that. You're still there too?
Yeah, man. I like my little mountain nook.
Yeah, dude. I see you whipping on the bike, dude. That shit looks so awesome.
Out there, bikes, snowboards. I just like being close to nature, man. And Reno's like so close to Tahoe. The fucking airport's like 10 minutes from my house. It's just a small city. I don't like big cities.
Yeah, man. I have love for Reno. I have love for all the casinos in Reno. I love for North Lake and South Lake. My first show ever was with Minnesota at the North Lake Casino. Fucking.
It was the Calneva back then.
Was it? It was what was it? Some diamond blue.
Crystal Bay.
Crystal Bay. Was it Crystal Bay?
Yeah.
We played at STS9 after party in 2012. It was crazy long
That's
ago.
almost 10 years ago, man.
Oh my! It feels like longer than that.
Right? It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, so you've seen a few of these. You might know the drill. So we're gonna get into some music production. For anyone who's new, shout out from everyone coming in from the Psych Ward. We're gonna get into some music production stuff. If you have any, hold on, boom, 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 boom. I need to change something really quick on a Nightbot. Is it possible to just do something without forgetting one thing?
No.
I don't know if I'm just losing it, or there's always one thing that I forget, no matter what. It doesn't matter.
I mean, we've been in the music industry for so long now that like our last two brain cells are barely hanging on.
Ugh, it's just I can't even talk about it. I don't have them. They're there. They're just like, let me see. I'm gonna add this. Okay, whatever. Let's do. Okay, so if you want to ask questions for Preston, go pop them in the Discord. And we're gonna be answering the questions throughout the thing. Otherwise, we're just gonna be having a chat, and feel free to get involved. Let me move this out of the way. View full screen. That's what I want. Okay, cool. So before we get into the music production stuff, we're just gonna do a brain warm up. I'm gonna ask you some just quick fire questions.
Cool. I've been drinking wine, so this is gonna go well.
Okay, good. Okay. Easy. They're not music production questions. These are just warmer uppers. It's not like highlight that. What is this, F1 or E1? No, none of that. This is lighthearted fun. This is all fun here. Okay.
Cool.
These are going to be favorites. You guys tell me what your favorite is for one of these things, okay?
Okay.
Don't overthink it. Favorite food?
Sushi.
Okay. Good choice. Great choice.
Yep.
Have you ever been to Japan?
No, that's the number one country I want to go to.
Gosh.
Once the pandy's over, I'm gonna fucking head there. Quick status.
Dude, from where you're at, that's easy money. Easy claps on a 10-hour flight to Tokyo. You probably have to fly to LA, or San Francisco, but
drive to San Francisco and.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting it's so close. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, that's a life changer. That for me, that changed my life. I spent like almost 3 weeks extra alone there.
Dude, that's exactly what I want to do. Like I was planning it out for after 2020. I was gonna take some time off because I was gonna have some extra money to take a vacation for myself.
Yes.
Which I haven't done in ever.
Ever.
Here we are, just in my house.
Yeah. Oh, you're on staycation.
Yeah.
Okay. Japan. Obviously the best place in the world I've ever been to, no question. Okay, favorite animal other than dog. Cannot be dog. Dog is the obvious answer. All
right, yeah, you knew that one.
Next.
Shit, dude, I'd probably go tiger.
Okay, I like that. Okay, favorite book.
Series, or does it have to be a single?
It could be anything.
Shit, I'd probably pick the Harry Potter series.
I like it. Those are classics.
Yeah.
So good.
Grew up with that shit.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite Disney character.
Aladdin.
Okay, I like that one too. Did you watch or like the live action?
Yeah, I watched it I think 3 or 4 times since it came out, and I love it.
Did you?
I thought it was great. I thought to take Robin Williams' place is extremely hard in any sense.
Agreed.
I thought Will Smith did a really, really good job. Some of the added songs were like a little tacky, but I just took it as face value. You know what I mean?
True.
It's not made for a 30-year-old white guy.
Or is it? A 30-year-old white guy who was 7 when the original came out, perhaps.
And still acts like a 7-year-old.
Right. And still, like, I subscribe to everything Disney. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, let me turn on this light real quick. I'm gonna see
Cool.
if I can brighten it up a little. I'm following the Twitch on my phone. It's a little dark.
Cool.
All right, that should be better.
Okay, cool. All right. Favorite pizza topping?
Pineapple.
Really?
I mean,
Your
not
favorite?
not by itself, but I knew that was going to cause some riff within the chat. You know, I'm trying to put up a dialogue here.
Sure. Oh, God. Use is already going off. People are pissed. We're losing viewers by the minute.
Oh, no, my Instagram followers.
Oh, no, they're going down. But then they're going up again. It's crazy how that works. Okay. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Man, I don't really eat ice cream, but if I did, I'd probably have to go with like cookie dough.
Okay, I like that. Favorite beer?
I'm a fan of blonde ales, but I don't really drink beer anymore because it started making me fat.
Ain't that the truth? As I drink my beer and gain weight, it's okay.
I'm on my cab.
A red man.
Yeah, bitch, it's fancy up in here.
Ooh, how fancy. What's the ticket on the bottle?
$10.99.
Ooh. You love that. You love that. All right. I've got a few more here.
All right.
Favorite movie? I know it's hard. Just a favorite movie.
That's a toss-up. I would either go with the Harry Potter series or the original Star Wars. Hard to pick.
If I had to pick in between those two, it's hard because Star Wars ruined so many of them, I think, with episode 1. I hated episode 1 and those, but there are people that don't hate them. I don't know.
I fucking love the prequels compared to the sequels that they did the last few years. I thought the prequels were way fucking doper.
Really? Okay, we'll have to debate about that later.
All right.
Okay, favorite plugin?
FabFilter Pro MB.
Okay, I like that. You're going to have to show some MB flexes here because I feel like a lot of people either overuse or misuse / don't know what they're doing with the MB. Cool. And it's powerful.
I'll show you what presets I use.
Yes. No, well, dude, that's powerful. I want to know. I want to know the presets. All right. Favorite sport?
Like a traditional sport, baseball.
Okay, cool. I like that. You're a Giants fan. I knew that.
Yeah. Correct. Thank you for not saying Dodgers.
No. No, you don't live in LA. You're not from LA. The only excuse for being a Dodgers fan is you're a fucking 12th planet and you were born in Los Angeles. Like, otherwise, like, dude, if you like the Dodgers, that's like liking the Patriots and you're not from Boston. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, my agent's from New York and he lives in LA now and he's like, Dodgers. Yeah, I'm like, fuck you, dude.
That's shady.
Yeah, super shady shit.
That's shady. Okay. Favorite type of drum?
Snare drum.
Okay. Favorite airline? Let's be real. We don't like any airlines, but what's your go-to airline of choice?
I fly American. I fucking don't fuck with United, and I can't afford Delta all the time.
I know.
So
God.
Stick with American, and I have my status. I'm cool with it. It's like right in the middle of like, you know.
It's not bad. When you have status with American, I fly American.
Yeah.
When I lived in LA, I flew United. But I live so close to Atlanta that I'm like, I wish I could fiend for the Delta spot, you know.
Hub down there, huh?
Yeah, in Atlanta, yeah. But Nashville is the Southwest hub.
Dude, Southwest is cool too, but the problem is that if you get status on there, you don't get fancy seats at all. You just get to pick the seat first. Like, no.
Yeah. You don't get anything. There is no status.
Yeah, I spent like $15,000 with you. Give me a fucking cool seat.
Right. You're like, oh, here's a drink ticket. But the benefit of being able to get your money back whenever.
That and the buddy pass or whatever it is. Like if you have a TM or a fucking DJ or anything.
Yes.
Companion pass is sick.
Agreed. Okay. A few more. Favorite city to DJ in?
That's fucked up. That's so fucked up. I mean, I don't have a favorite. Does anyone really have like a favorite? I mean, I would probably say somewhere in Michigan, like Detroit or Grand Rapids. Maybe like fuck, man, that's tough. That's so tough. The Midwest always goes the fuck off, though.
I agree. It's funny because I think every DJ's answer to that would be different because of just where they've played and what era they played in. Like, I'm saying Denver no matter what because of, or like Denver, Boulder, because of Beta and the Ogden and like the many amazing experiences I've had at Beta. Like, may she rest. But if you've been like going insane over the like Intersection is crazy. Yeah, someone in the chat said Intersection. Detroit is amazing. Love playing in Detroit.
Yeah, fucking D-Town or Electricity.
Yeah, Pontiac.
Pontiac.
Oh yeah,
fucking...
Electricity is one of the best parties in the country, or at least it was. I don't know if it still is. Shout out to Electricity, but
still is, man. Still is.
Yeah.
I did a patio party there last year. You know, like a social distance thing. They did a really, really good job of it. And the only reason I took it is because we have such a good relationship with Tom, the owner, and like just the crew in general. They did a really good job, but they've always been fire. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough question. Okay, last one. Favorite genre of music that's not electronic music?
Probably just alternative rock. All sorts of subgenres in there.
Cool. I'm with that. Okay, let's get into it. So why don't you go ahead and share? So basically, chat, we're going over Preston's new EP, Psych Ward, on Wakaan fam, but we're gonna go over the title track, Psych Ward. So if you have any questions, and if you don't have Discord, that's okay. You can just drop them in the chat. But if you do have Discord, drop them right there because those will get answered first. Let's do a quickie sound check. And just to make sure you're not on Zoom audio device, right? Oh, shit.
Nope. I'm going UAD.
Okay.
I'm just a little bit.
Okay, I got nothing. Did you do, when you shared screen, did you do share computer sound?
Yeah, give me a sec.
In actual Zoom, though, I mean.
I gotta hit start streaming on the fucking listen to thing.
Okay. And also, but I mean, like with Zoom.
Oh, yeah, Zoom, I hit the share sound.
You did.
Yeah. Here, let's try this.
Give me one more. Sounds good.
Cool.
I think we're good to go.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. So what I would like to do is just have you kind of give me a rundown, walkthrough of, I'd love to see the whole session. But I'd like to, aside from sound design and stuff like that, kind of like your creative thought process behind putting together the EP and just, some of your favorite things about the track. Maybe we can start at the beginning.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, so this track was the only track that like I tried doing on Twitch back in like April. I think I started it. It was my first attempt at trying to stream a production session live. My MacBook, it's decent, but it's not powerful enough to really handle, all the shit that goes along with it. But we had some fun, and like I had people send in samples of their dogs barking, which are all throughout the song. Fucking Brock Boogie T sent me all those vocal clips. So it just started off of like fucking around on Twitch for a little bit.
Cool.
It was cool. So the intro.
Can we get a listen through like from the beginning to maybe like through the first drop, just so everyone knows?
Yeah. I mean, I know some of it played through, but not everyone was in here. So
yeah, let's play one more.
God damn it. This fucking Zoom thing. There we go. Just gonna drop my screen a little bit.
I know it's whack.
probably a good little
Sick.
snip there.
Love that. Banger. Dude, the EP was sick, and also I really loved the promo video for it.
Yeah, dude, the Wakaan, the design guy that we got with really crushed it.
That was sick.
Yeah, it was fun. And you know what? It's weird. I got a little backlash for the name of the EP and you know, that whole thing, kind of like the woker than thou crowd. They were upset that I called it Psych Ward. They're like, you're being insensitive, blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
But what they didn't realize is that, like, my Facebook group has been called that since day one, you know, and it was never meant to be. Obviously, never
Obviously.
yeah, like
You're like, here's me. I'm a good guy. I make fun of people with mental issues. Like, no.
yeah, exactly. So it was taken out of context by a couple people,
Ugh.
but the majority of it was super, you know, positive, and everybody was stoked. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and here's the reality is that when you become an artist that has a fan base, you need to create a name for either your crew or your fans or your community, whatever it may be. And it normally has to do with your name or your brand. Like, to me, SubDocta, Psych Ward, that makes sense. I'm sure that's why you came up with that name.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like, you know what? I'm going to make fun of R-word people.
Right.
Like,
No.
who the fuck would ever do that? You know what I
No.
mean? So,
But, you know, people will nitpick and troll and whatever.
there was today, some girl messaged me on Instagram. She was mad that I reposted a meme from Parks and Rec, which is like one of my favorite shows.
What? I love Parks and Rec.
I know, she was talking shit to me, and I just blocked her. I didn't deal with it, and then she made a new account to talk shit to me again, and I was like, "How fucking bored are you? Like, Jesus Christ!"
Wait, about what was her issue with Parks and Rec?
It was a meme, you know, the episode where Joe Biden comes in and Leslie's all stoked,
Yeah.
and like, so I reposted a thing from Aubrey.
Right. She like has a crush on fucking Joe Biden.
On Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And she was like, "These celebrities don't fucking notice you. You're a piece of shit." I was like, Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
god.
I was
Oh.
a separate account to try and get at me again. I was like, man, it's
Dude,
weird.
triggered.
It's just weird because you see it too. YouTube comments, shit. It's like, God, you guys are going out of your way to be mean, and I'm literally just like a nerd in my room. Like, what the fuck?
Yikes. Anyways, that sucks. I never even thought about the Psych Ward thing and not being PC. It's just ridiculous.
I don't think about it either because
Never
Doesn't
once has
even
that
cross
crossed my
my-
mind.
it
Yeah.
never crossed my mind, so it never fucking came up.
Yeah. That's
But
just
anyways.
absurd. Anywho, let's get to it.
Okay, cool. So for the intro, I guess we'll start with some of the drums. There's a cool trick that I wanted to show you guys, especially those who, you know, I use a lot of top loops, you know, samples that I cut up and shit like that. Like a lot of us do. I don't, you know, if I'm in the middle of a tune, I don't want to stop for an hour and make like put 4 hi-hats in a loop and, you know, like get it all nice and proper. I just want to drag and drop something that works. But for this, it was a trick I learned, I think, from Ill Gates like years ago. It's a little percussion rack I made that gives you, it's just pure randomness. So you just load up, like you can see down here, you know, like 6 octaves of a bunch of random fucking samples. They're all cymatics samples from a pack.
Uh-huh.
And then you throw an arpeggiator on it, you know, however you want to set it up. I do the little add some random
Cool.
thing, but the
Velocity?
you just make a MIDI clip and then you put full notes on every single channel, and then it just randomly cycles through, you know.
I love that.
Yeah, it's just an easy way to make a cool little you know, perk line or whatever, and then I just got some filtering on it, nothing too crazy.
Dope. I like that. I know that the guys who made that Raptor drum pack, that's how they made all those insane tom fills.
Oh, you know what? That's where I learned the video from. It might have been from a Cymax video
Interesting.
of how they do. Yeah, it was the tom fills.
Because that pack is just like, it's like no human could play drums like that. They just like,
No, they're fucking insane. Yeah, that's actually what I did learn it from, was that
Cool.
cymatics thing. But it's cool to apply to anything.
No, I like that better, honestly, because you could make your own sample pack by just randomizing the top loop generator.
Yeah, I mean, you could use literally anything and get some cool sounds out of it.
Cool.
So super easy to make, and I'm all about just swiftness while I'm creating. You know what I mean? Like
Agreed.
how quick can I get the idea down? Like anybody should be.
Agreed.
What else do we got going on here?
Do you start with melody or do you start with bass line or drop or drums? Like, where do you start? Where did you start on this one? Where do you normally start, or is it different every time?
Honestly, it's different every time. I know a lot of people like to start with like a melody line or like a drum beat. I think this just started out with a snare drum and this perk rack to kind of like build a little bit of a groove. I don't like to put my kicks in until I've built out the song a little bit, because I want the song to drive the kick, not the kick drive the song, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You put your kicks on like 1 and 4 right away, you're already like boxing yourself in.
Right.
So I'll just put my snare there as a placeholder and then kind of move around that.
I like that.
Yeah, but then other times it can be a melody, or sometimes I'll put the drums in for like 6 hours. So I can build out most of a song and imagine what it's gonna sound like before I start to narrow the window down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what we got going on in here? Oh, this little zoom window is kind of screwing me up,
Dude. I feel you.
Oh, I can put it at the top. Oh, cool. That's way better. So yeah, to get with the parlance of our times, especially today, I actually do most of my drums, at least my kicks and snares, in MIDI, just in sampler. Were you on Twitter at all today? Did you see any of the fucking bullshit?
Well, I was looking at my Instagram comments from the post today, and Patrick was just saying, what did he say? He said she was shaming MIDI drums.
Yeah. But the reason I do it is just something I've done. It's just since I started making music, you get halfway through a track and you're like, oh shit, I want to change my kick sound. And I don't know how to swap out all the audio samples at one time.
Right.
I know there's a way to do it, but it's like, if I just leave it in a sampler and, I can transient shape it or do whatever I want that way, then I don't have to fucking sit there and drop in a new sample for every little thing.
I mean, that's a valid point. I think that there's something to say about committing from the get-go, and I think there's also probably something more to say about considering multiple options.
Yeah, but for me, it comes down to still back to trying to get an idea down as quick as possible. So like when I open my template, I already have like 2 different kicks preloaded, you know what I mean? Just so I can get the idea down, and then when I want to, I can go and swap the sample or whatever. But that's just something I do.
Cool.
Where should we go in this? What do you think?
So let's just do from top to bottom here. So we went over the drums at the top. What's what do you do for sub bass?
Sub bass.
I think I saw sub bass above that. Yeah.
Subs is coming down. I think this one.
And you sidechain with Shaper Box?
Yeah, I set this up from a Jade Cicada tutorial.
Okay.
So like I have my sidechain routed to like every separate.
Oh wow.
I know a lot of people like to do it to just one where you can, send everything to it. But the cool thing about this for me is sometimes I don't want every single element being sidechained that hard. The top drums or effects. And so I can go into my group and just adjust, my volume knob here of how much. It's just a different send and return
Totally.
setup.
Totally.
For sub on this guy. Oh, of course, I already have it in the audio. This is just following along the bass line that I made. And then, like in Serum, you have your patch and then you duplicate it and then just change all the bullshit into a sine wave. But it still follows your LFO envelopes and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But I do use this Nightmare sub rack that actually Patrick Dirt Monkey gave me.
Dude, that's an old school one, and I haven't seen it since a few computers ago. It's
this rack?
The Nightmare sub rack, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it works great for me. It's just a little bit of saturation and brings out some of that stuff.
Dope.
I mean, especially like because bass music is mostly written in like, you know, dubstep specifically like G maybe down to like C sharp.
Right.
So it's always nice to get those overtones out with a little bit of saturation.
So do
Especially
you
like
use an internal sub or did you make an external sub?
this is one that I had made in Serum and then just
Mm,
bounced it into audio.
okay. Cool.
And then I also have and then of course you got your classic hip hop sub in here.
Classic.
So it's this same thing as the other sub, except for it just has more erosion on it.
Mm.
If anyone out there is not familiar with using erosion on your subs, just throw one of these guys on here. Wide noise. Just really, brings up
Oh yeah.
some interesting little artifacts. And then, do I have any other subs in here? Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff I should have gone through and like imported my MIDI
Oh, it's all
from
good.
my subs. But for bass stuff, I did drop that in at the bottom of the session here, so we can kind of go through a little bit
Cool.
more.
Let's go over the melodies first.
Okay. Leads. All right. So. All right. So for this guy, I'm pretty sure I found a guitar, like just a melody sample, and I did the convert to melody down here. Sometimes is super helpful. Sometimes is completely off, as you know, if you've used it.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed the sample. I did the melody trick. That's not it. That's all a bunch of shit that I didn't use. I didn't clean this up very well for us.
Oh, all good. I know it's good to see. It's good to see how it goes.
Here it is. Basically just grabbed that MIDI thing, switched up some of the notes a little bit, and then I have some other cool guitar plugins that I use. I think they're through Contact, and I'm not sure what it's called. I didn't even think about going through my leads and stuff. I was so worried of coming in here after watching like AU5 and shit of like how he processes his bass and all this shit. I was like, all right, I got to make sure I have my basses ready.
Oh no.
So we go ahead there. Yeah, so this guy, it's just a super basic, distorted guitar lead. I got this little widener on it. We got a little bump on the a little side bump on the guitar. The Pro MB, like we were talking about. This thing's got some wild side dynamics on it. Help spread it out a little bit. Little Q3, and then the CLA 2A from Waves.
The classic.
Classic. I mean, it's a guitar. I wanted it to sound like a guitar and not go too wild. So I just layered that with those little bell things, and kind of came together from there. Nothing too crazy. I mean, I'm not, I make music that I think sounds good. I'm not like the most crazy, over the top sound designer, that sort of thing. I think there's something to say with the simplicity of doing something just because it sounds good, not because it has to be the craziest. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that there's a lot to be said about a properly executed simple idea. That's like something I say all the time. It's like, I don't know. I'd rather just bang on a simple idea and have it just mix well and be digestible than like, there are some guys who can shoot for the moon and get it done. Like AU5 or something like that, you know, but
And I envy the fuck out of them because it's insane.
it is.
You know what I mean? Like, not an unhealthy envy, but it's just like, God damn, you guys really go in and know what you're doing. And I'm just like, think, think, think. That sounds good. Let's move on to the next thing.
Well, I mean, I think there's something to be said because you're both successful. You know, I don't think one or the other would deter, you know, you having a career. I don't think, I think that that's actually, you know, something that might be worth chatting about is just that, like, just because you don't go through the roof, through the moon, trying to become like the biggest production god, and like, you know, you might not be able to hang with certain people and conversations and whatever. It doesn't matter at all. And I think that could potentially deter some people from,
100%.
you know, they're like, oh, I'll never be able to do this.
When I first started producing, like I'm sure a lot of us do, I really wanted to be at that level, and I was trying to make something that wasn't really me. And it takes a couple years to develop your sound and be comfortable with it, you know. I mean, fuck, I'm still making music that sounds like it's from 10 years ago because that's my favorite kind of bass music, you know. But there's a way to do it that's to still make it your own.
Totally. And I think there's a level of ignorance is bliss that I miss having.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning where I was just like, I'm just making music. I don't know anything. And I think that, you know, I don't know. You just really don't want to get over involved in like, oh, I can't do this without this plugin, or
right.
or you know, these sounds, or really this plugin is like a main thing that I think really stop a lot of people. They're like, oh, I don't have Omnisphere, so I'll never be able to do this, or like all I have is Ableton stuff, I'll never be able to do this. And I think, you know, not that it's in any way like at all like one is less than the other, because it isn't. Obviously it's not. You guys are both successful, both tiers, like, and it's part of the journey is learning as well. So it's like,
I mean, look at G Jones. Up until I think 2, maybe 3 years ago, he was on stock Ableton everything, you know. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, that was his thing. Is he went to, I think it was to Berkeley, or maybe it was Santa Cruz, one of those California schools for music. And he strictly used Ableton plugins, and he was still making the craziest shit. It's about what you know, how well you know what you have versus, you know,
It's true.
trying to get the next best thing, which I'm so guilty of. I have so much shit that I buy or, you know, that I've had for years that I never fucking use anymore.
Right.
Just because you think you have to have it.
Yeah, and not to say that having it doesn't help, because it does.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, you know, my favorite plugins are the dynamic plugins. It's not even, you know, I use Serum and fucking Massive like everybody else, but my favorite plugins are the ones that actually add something in terms of the dynamics. And
okay, that sounds like a good
sound.
segue into some bass chatter.
Yeah, let's go through some of these. So I pulled this in from the beginning session. So this guy, where you at? I know. I'm sure everybody's in here like, shut the fuck up. Just show me how to make basses.
Do it.
Yeah. So this one was super, super simple. So I have a 2 channels here, and that's what I usually do with my basses. Just to have the sub follow along exactly with the same envelopes and the same, you know, velocity as the mid-range sound. So I just create a chain, duplicate it, and then take off all the extra frilly stuff inside of Serum and just leave a straight sine wave. Oh, can you see the Serum stuff if I bring it up? Or you?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We can see
just
it.
making sure because it's in the Ableton session, right?
Yes, we are good. We can see it.
Cool. So for this little guy, I mean, dude, it's so simple. Like, I make the dumbest, most simple sounds. I think this was just just a little wave, like a sine wave table that I automated a little bit with some FM from B, and one little weird slope, some filtering, some chorus, you know, gives it that like metallic sound. And then copied my sub down to there, threw a bunch of erosions on there with the sine.
So you are doing an in sub, because I remember you had that subgroup above. So are you doing double sub?
No, so what I do is I end up splitting this.
Mm.
So this is like, from my first version of the song. So I'll let it play through, but I always process my subs and my mid basses differently. So after I'm happy with it, I'll, cut, Command X or whatever, cut this sub channel out and post it up in the subsection so that I can process it accordingly. But this
Okay.
is just an easy way, to keep everything clean and in line just enough.
Yeah.
And then throw a little standard clip on the end for some extra beef. And that one's super simple.
Cool.
And some of these are already flattened to audio too. But that honestly, I think that's just a different reiteration of the original sound that we were just going over. You just change the oscillator a little bit. But I'm a big proponent of that too, of like having cohesive bass sounds. For me, that works best is you find like a cool staple sound and then duplicate that, change the oscillator sound a little bit, or the how the waveform is affected, or just like those tiny little things that give it a different timbre, but still sound cohesive with the rest of the sounds.
How about motif writing? Like, what were some of the ways that you came up with like how the basses were going to be arranged? Do you do bass movement like within, Serum itself, or are you like a print to audio and fuck around type, or?
I usually do my LFO movements and shit like that. My little automations with it while it's still in MIDI.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll print to audio and then go from there. Cause like the shit is so basic. And for me, you go through and personally, if I chop up too much audio and warp it too much, especially my bass sounds when there's sub involved, you just degrade it further and further down.
Yeah.
Sample wise. And that can be really, really dope if that's what you want to do. But for sounds that like basses and drums and stuff that are supposed to pop out, I don't like to overwork them once they're in audio. So yeah, let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's some more. Yeah, so you can see with this one, I'll unfreeze it. Oops. So yep, it's just a tiny bit of automation lane stuff. I might have some pitching going on. Yeah, I definitely have some pitching going on. And for anyone out there that's not super musically inclined, like I am, pitching stuff instead of like finding the right note for me can be super helpful. You know what I mean? Instead of like tinkering the bass sound along to try and find the perfect note, I can usually find it within a pitch, by automating the pitch. Yep, just a little bit of glide on there. And yeah, this is, like I said, this is just a different reiteration of that first bass that we were just going over. I just went up here into oscillator B and changed,
octaves.
Yeah, changed octaves and changed the actual waveform, and then just added some more FM. But everything else is the same. That I like eased up on the cutoff a little bit, and I made some, little EQ automations within the plugin itself.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Fairly basic stuff, but I'm trying to show everybody a little bit kind of how we work. And I forget that, like, I'm talking to you, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I know that you know this shit. So I'm trying to remember that, like, everybody in here may not know that.
No, I mean, I'm learning here, so don't worry about it. One thing I'm noticing is that your MIDI notes are off the grid.
Yeah, that's something that just gives it that more human feel. And I'll either do that, I'll just play it out and like leave it, or I'm a big fan of using delay, and I feel like a lot of people
Like track delay.
use the track delay. I feel like a lot of people don't utilize that enough, and that really helps give it some humanizing qualities. I do it a lot. I have a couple on my top drums here. Just kind of breaks it up a little bit, just gives it more movement and doesn't sound so rigid. I don't like that rigid shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're very swingy driven on this, John, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, like the drums are in triplets, everything's in triplets. I like writing in triplets because it gives it like that kind of swaggy, bouncy vibe. It's not so like yut, that sort of thing.
Right. Which is interesting though, because I feel like if you commit to the things are off the grid thing, normally everything needs to be off the grid, which is...
Yeah, I mean, you play around, and then if it sounds good to your ear, that's like the golden rule. Like, don't read into it too much visually. If it's close your eyes and it sounds good, just roll with it.
How do you know when it sounds good?
Oh, man. How does anyone know when it sounds good? I mean, you just kind of like feel it. For me, I just feel it. If I'm sitting here and I'm making something and I like audibly go, oh fuck, and then I start like bouncing around a little bit, you're like,
right.
okay, we're getting somewhere.
Yes.
That, to me, that's when it sounds good.
I just think that that's an advanced skill. Like, whether or not, and this is something, just from teaching for so long, and I when I see people break through that wall, I notice it like, okay, cool, you guys, you're like on the right track. But I do notice that that's hard for a lot of people. They know what they like, like when you go to a show and you're like, oh, I like this, but I think the harder thing is like, I think you can be too hard on yourself and never get to the point where like I like this, because you're just being too critical, and you just never get there. I see it all the time, and I think one of the keys to getting there is like to getting to the point where like, okay, cool, I'm not just like a bystander listening to music. I'm a producer. Like, come from experience in time. A lot of people who go from being like straight up fans to music producers, they forget to alter the way that they listen to music in the beginning. Like, until you change the way, it's like, imagine how Quentin Tarantino watches movies. It's like, it's different. You just listen differently. You learn what you like. I like, my tip for people to figuring out like, okay, cool, this is what I think it sounds good, is like, you sit and you listen and you dissect. You don't just like sit and vibe. You're like, what do I like? You're like, okay, I know that I like this song, but like, what is it? What is it? The snare drum? Is it the bass? Is it that? What? And you figure out what that is. And I don't know if you use references at all when you produce, or you did in the beginning at least. I don't know.
I definitely did in the beginning, and sometimes I do for just layout and arrangement of my songs.
Right
now I'm writing a lot of shit that's not dubstep, garage or like drum and bass halftime. And so I'm not as familiar with those arrangements, or I'm trying to keep it, interesting. So I use it for that mostly, but I'm very outspoken, about how I don't really listen to bass music anymore.
Sure.
Because it was getting into my head and I wasn't having fun with it anymore, because, I'm just like, oh fuck, this guy's doing this thing and it sounds so cool. Or, you start having all these self-doubts, and I was like, fuck it, I'm not listening to anything that I'm currently making, because it's taking the fun out of it. And then once I stopped, and then I just stopped worrying about it.
That is a very valid point. Not to say like, oh, I make bass music, so I'm not going to listen to bass music, so I'm not, whatever it is, maybe like put down by the fact that I'm not as good as blah blah blah, or like my music will never get there. But I do like the concept of just like, I don't know, again, it kind of goes back to the ignorance is bliss thing, where you're like,
It is, and it's like
I'm just gonna do me, and it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I'm not being subconsciously making something that maybe I wouldn't normally do, and I'm really, really hard on myself. I know a lot of us are, and I'm not happy with most of the stuff that, I put out. I'm starting to get there, but for a long time, it's still a struggle. And so I was like, what if I just cut out the middleman and just listen to punk rock in my free time, then it sounds nothing like punk rock, so I can fucking do whatever I want in my world.
Right. I do think that there's something to be said about finding inspiration in electronic music, but I like to find inspiration in everything other than electronic music, like movies. Like my I think my main inspiration is like when I'm watching a movie, I'll like pause the movie and go run into the studio. I don't know why, but I'm always listening to the music in the movies. But also when I'm like on Twitter or fucking off or something, and I see someone tweeting like, "Yo, what are your favorite tracks right now?" or something, I always listen. And almost 90%, like almost all the time, I'm like, "Oh fuck." I'm like, these are so good. I'm like, holy shit, I regret this.
That's cool. I would, whenever I watch movies and shit, it's such a disconnect of like, I worked all day and I want to not think about music. But my roommate's the same way. We'll be watching something. He's like, I gotta go, do a painting or make some music. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. It just doesn't inspire me like that. But that's really, really dope that it does for you.
Yeah, well, I think that it's important that whether it's movies or something else, I think that just being able to, I think learning, I've said this before, but I think inspiration is a learnable skill.
Yeah.
Like you can learn to find inspiration, like when you're out, like throwing the ball for your dog at the park, you hear like a bird, or whatever it may be. I just think that people are like, man, I'm stuck. I'm not inspired. I can't. I don't want to make music. I just blah blah blah. I'm like, the inspiration is it's learnable. It's out there. You just gotta listen.
It's really hard, especially right now. I don't know if you went through the same thing, but I haven't. I mean, I've maybe written completely, like finished tracks, maybe like 5 or 6 tracks since last March when the pandemic started. I have a shit ton of ideas started. I have some more chill stuff, but finding the inspiration right now was super hard for me. So this was really cool though, because I got help from my fan base, or from the group in terms of just sound ideas and kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. So that was really fun. And that's that's literally why this song exists.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, look where you found inspiration,
Yeah, from my peers.
Right, exactly. Like that just proves my point that it exists. It's just it may not be exactly where you think it is.
It comes out of nowhere. I mean, it really does.
Yeah, it does.
Like inspiration. I mean, I started a bootleg last night. I was listening to like some Raga Jungle, like folding my laundry, and the song came on, and I was like, oh my god! I put all my shit down. I was like, I gotta bootleg this. Like when it hits, you're like, I have to try something right now.
Yes. That's how you know it's going to be tight, though.
Yeah, dude. And it's one of those moments where you're like, thank God I still have it. Because you start going through you go through the cycles of like, oh shit.
That's true.
Do I still know what I'm doing? Like, am I making anything good? But then something pops up and you get that inspiration. You're like, all right, still got it. We're still out here.
Right. I think that those moments come when you least expect them. Yep. And I do still think that it takes an experienced producer to recognize those moments.
It does. And like when I talk about not listening to bass music, it's only because I've been listening to dubstep since 2008. You know what I mean? So like I have a decade of not only DJing the music, but being a fan of it. So, the inspiration's baked into my conscience now.
Yeah.
In terms of like sounds and kind of how I want to do things.
Well, that's a valid point though, is that again, I think that a lot of people don't know what to do in the beginning because they haven't, like I always talk about how over the years of listening and producing and just idea flushing and bad ideas and good ideas and shows and 5 a.m. nights and airplanes and shit like that, you start to build this like subconscious toolbox that's like this just space that your brain just reaches into. And I think that's why I always encourage people to just experience, because that's where music comes from, you know. Think about that. This track was entirely built from your life experiences and many other people's, which I think
Yeah.
is the coolest thing, because you were just talking about how like maybe in this moment before you weren't totally inspired, you know, or maybe you weren't as confident in your own music, but you basically you subconsciously reached into this bank of things that maybe you don't think about all the time, like all these people that support you, and this idea was birthed from that, and then now you have an EP on like arguably the biggest bass music label. Like, it's just very cool to me, and I think that the key to keeping that energy is to just recognize its existence.
Yeah, for sure. It's that internal battle, but at the end of the day, it's
Yes.
like I love where I'm at, and Wakaan's been so good to me, and that was such a long process to get with them
Can you
because
talk a little bit about that? I think a lot of people would like to know.
yeah, I mean, just in general, like a quick, spark notes of even getting to this point. I had my West Coast Wobble EP in 2018 was pretty much done, but I couldn't get it signed anywhere.
Mm,
Like I sent it me and my manager sent it everywhere, but it's just weird enough to not be considered, mainstream dubstep, but not weird enough to be like full left field.
sure.
So it took a long time, and the Ganja guys were really supportive, obviously, like they've done so much for me. So when it came
How
to
did you connect with them?
through Dirt Monkey, through Patrick.
Okay.
Yeah, I did he had a Liftoff remix or remix contest for his song Liftoff, and I sent it to him, and he was like, cool, I'm gonna send this to the Ganja guys, and kind of snowballed from there. I remember I was playing a show in Portland. It was like a DIY show, back when I would like reach out to promoters, drive 12 hours to go play for $250,
Mm,
shit like that. So I'm sitting in Portland, and the Ganja guy's like, all right, let's do a Skype at, like, what was it? 6 a.m. your time. Cause they're in Belgium at the time. So I stayed up all night, just nervous as fuck. Ganja White had like my idols in terms of like the
yeah.
sound. And yeah, they were just super, super cool. So fast forward up into this project. We had sent over quite a few songs to Wakaan. I have quite a few in the bank right now. So we decided to split it up over multiple releases. But they're very picky. They're very conscious in a great way. Loper and Liquid Stranger are very involved. They're very conscious about what's going on in the scene, not just in terms of like sound. Some labels just take a certain sound.
Mm,
They're conscious of like who you are as a person and how you present yourself to the world and carry yourself and this sort of thing. So it took about 6 months of, just slowly back and forth email. And we finally found a couple sets of songs that we can do for a few releases. And yeah, it's been great.
dope. Well, congrats on that. That's huge. How did you meet / connect with your manager?
Um, I got picked up by Jake Bernstein as my agent. It was Circle Talent Agency back in the day. That was again through Patrick, man. Like I tell him all the time, I owe him so much because I just randomly hit him up on Facebook, started a conversation, which producers take note. We were friends first. I didn't just hit him with some links. I was like, blam, listen to these, motherfucker.
Mm,
And yeah, he sent over songs to my agent. My agent emailed me. He wasn't even my agent at the time. He just emailed me. Got with him, and he knew some managers that needed that were looking for some new talent, and it was the craziest like month of my life. You know what I mean? Those things just line up perfectly. I don't really believe in luck. I think it's the culmination of like being somewhere at the right time, but also being prepared enough to handle, that sort of situation.
right.
And I was just at that point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna shop for agents, start with some boutique things, blah blah blah, and then, preparation and time coincided, and like I got my agent, my manager within I think 2 weeks.
Well, I think that's a very valid point that we should stop on. Is wait, what were the words you just said? Patience and
Preparation and time, like
preparation and timing. That's like a tattoo that on the body of the teacher of someone who wants to teach people how to become successful musicians is preparation and time. I used to always say this when I was younger and a shithead. This used to be like my saying about people that always ask me advice. It would be bide your time and keep your mouth shut.
Dude,
And
that's genius.
That's a more kind of aggro approach than what I have now as I'm like kind of older.
That's some 23-year-old shit.
It is, and that's exactly what it was. But it wasn't wrong though, because that was only me speaking from my own past experiences. I ruined so many. I fucked up a lot, and I fucked up a lot of relationships, and I fucked up moments.
We almost weren't friends for a time because of like, I felt like there was some head knocking. This was years ago.
Yeah.
You know.
I just used to be like that kind of. I don't know. I was very just like, this is who I am. Get out of my way type of thing, which is just like not the vibe at all. But that's just who I was, and I'm not like that anymore. But I was like that for a while. And as soon as I kind of figured that out and was like, okay, this is just not the way at all. But it's funny because that statement still kind of has a relevance about, you know, biding your time and keeping your mouth shut. Biding your time no matter what. Keeping your mouth shut, I think that whole thing was based off of like this story that I can't really tell, but just a story of when this one person just was in a room filled with people that they look up to and just was blasting their SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Like in just like we're trying to chill moment. And I realized that had like a bigger moment and like meaning to me about like, dude, like no one cares. And it doesn't matter. Like if when you're ready, you're ready. When your music is ready and you are mentally ready, people will hear it and it will be okay. But biding your time is one of the hardest skills that I think not just musicians, just people in the world lack because it's hard. Like, I want this now. This is my fucking passion. I deserve this. It's an ego thing. It's like, I'm good enough. I'm ready. It's like, are you though?
If you feel like you are, you're probably not.
Right.
But for me, it was, you know, I didn't start coming up in this scene, you know, outside of my local area until I was 28 years old, you know, and Patrick at the time had picked me up for his, I think it was the Octapeel tour in 2018.
Yes.
And he was 30 at the time. So he was a really good mentor to me to like not feel like time wasn't on my side. You know what I mean? You know,
was that one of the last times I saw you in Phoenix?
No, I saw you on the Ganja tour last year in Nashville.
Right, in Nashville. But before that was the last time.
Before that was in Phoenix. Yeah. Yes. So it's just, it's exactly that. It took me a decade to get to this point. Some people it happens sooner. Some people it happens later. I'm more grateful that it happened later because I have better tools than if I was 22, 23, being, you know, big in the scene. I would have been a really bad shithead too, you know? So
yeah,
it's just keep your head down and work. At the end of the day, it's, you know, no one cares, work harder. That whole mentality.
Yep. I like that. Cool. That was a nice little aside there.
Yeah.
Do you want to get to some questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I'm just going to pull up off the Discord. If anyone in the chat has questions, pop them in the Discord or just pop them in the chat. It's whatever.
Yeah, following along on the chat too.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, cool. Yuz has some questions here. Yuz wants to know. Shout out Yuz.
Dude, the shit he sent me that I played on my stream last week. Chef's kiss, dude.
New emoji.
You should send that shit to Underdog Records if you haven't yet, Yuz.
Dude, me and Yuz have been in contact for a while. Love his tunes. This guy is the fucking coolest.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Favorite dog breed?
That's tough. I'd probably go with Bernese Mountain Dogs because I grew up with them.
The best looking puppy. Remember, like, my last job before I quit and to be a music producer was at the puppy store in the mall when I went to school in Arizona. And when the Bernese Mountain Dogs would come in, I was like, man, this is the best looking dog I've ever seen in my life.
They're like, yeah, 8 weeks and 30 pounds. You're like,
Beautiful.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, that's a good answer. Okay, you what are your desert island plugins? I assume these are like you have 3 plugins. I don't know
Okay.
I assume that's what it is. Use it. Is that what you're talking about? I guess three favorite plugins.
I'd probably go with Pro MB, Golfos, which actually I'll show you that a little bit here in a second. I'll show both of them.
Okay.
And then probably Serum, just because I know it.
Cool. And the
Don't let me forget though. We got to go through those.
Yeah, we'll do it right after the end of this question. We'll just go back into
cool.
it. Favorite type of effect to use? You says his is distortion or reverb.
I'd probably go with delays. They're so versatile, and there's so many different ways you can use like a delay plugin or even a stock, effect.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's. Why don't you share again?
Okay. So, sorry, nerds. We'll get into some fucking. We'll stop talking so much.
Fuck. These fucking nerds. Okay.
I just feel like I'm like 30 years old and I'm like the grandpa. I was like, let me tell you kids a story. Like that's the best way I know how to share is talk about stuff.
No, this is quite valuable intel.
Cool. All right. So we'll go with Pro MB first.
So yeah, let's run it.
So what I do, I throw it on every single one of my groups. So I kind of have like these presets that I make for my groups. This one is everything's labeled sub D, so it's sub D, multi-band, saturate, bus drums. So this is so we'll go before, pretty standard, and then I turn the rack on. If you're not listening through speakers or headphones, you're not going to hear very much.
I hear it.
Yeah. Of course you do. So the Pro MB is just a really intuitive multi-band compressor because multi-band compression is extremely. You can be apprehensive to use it because it's kind of intense. There's a lot going on. You know what I mean?
Can you give a little background about your background as a sound engineer, or?
Yeah. So I used to be a front of house and monitor engineer at my 1200 cap venue here in Reno. I was there for 7 years before they closed down. And then I went on tour with a band called Blue October. It was a big alt rock band, in the mid to late 2000s. I did that for 2 years as a monitor engineer. So I have about 9 years cumulative. I can't even say
cumulative.
Yeah, that's the word. God, it's such a weird word.
It's a weird word.
But I have 9 years all in terms of like the sound background world. So this the multi-band stuff is really cool, especially the Fab Filter one, because you have so many different presets that they give you to kind of play through. And it's like any plugin like Serum or a Massive Patch or Operator. You always want to learn by reverse engineering it, right? Like, oh shit, how did they get from point A to point B to point C? You dick around and play with it. So yeah, I mean, you'll see like each one of these, there's 5 bands on this particular one. They're all just different compressors for different frequency ranges. Personally, I don't like using a compressor unless it's a glue compressor that has like, wet dry where you can kind of blend in a sound. I like using a compressor where you can control specific elements of whatever sound it's on. Because sometimes you want to compress the highs more than the low mids. So each one of these has a different compressor lane here, all different ranges. You got threshold, output, that sort of deal. It's super easy to use, and it's really intuitive, and I like it a lot, man. It's good.
Okay.
So the other one I was talking about is
and you got the UAD rig too.
Yeah. I didn't want to go into too much UAD stuff because
Yeah.
you can't use UAD plugins unless you have one of their interfaces.
Yeah, or a Mac, dude. I had the Apollo Twin, and I had to sell it when I built my PC
What? Why?
because the Mobo on my PC doesn't run Thunderbolt.
Oh fuck! I didn't even think about
Me either until I built it. And then I was like plugging it into every hole in my fucking computer, and I'm like, no. I was just in denial. I was like, God damn, it's a drop bread on this Apollo Twin 2. It's not the dankest, but it's dank.
It's still $1,000.
Yeah, it's dank. It's definitely dank for sure. But
Damn. So
yeah.
wait, can you not install Thunderbolt plugins on?
I would have had to upgrade my motherboard to like a better motherboard. When I initially built my PC, that was like kind of what I shorted. It just like didn't have the ability to do Thunderbolt. There definitely is motherboards with Thunderbolt or USB-C. I think there is a USB-C, like Thunderbolt to USB-C adapter, but then you're
Right.
adapting and you're losing. Anyways, it's a sad day.
Damn, that's a bummer. Well, fuck. I wanted to build a computer, but now I'm like hesitant about it because.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I would just make sure that when you buy your motherboard, you buy a nice one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Definitely,
So
something to keep in mind.
won't go into the UAD stuff too much, but if you have some extra Skrilla and want to like really level up your plugin game, dude, I remember doing a back-to-back test of like a Waves, LA2A versus the UAD LA2A. It's insane. I mean, you had one. The quality is insane, so you're just paying for that.
Yeah.
So this other plugin I've been playing with over the last year is called Golfoss, which it's actually like a waterfall in Iceland. It's called like the Golfoss waterfall, and I was turned on to it by Buke's Finest.
Dude, he was just in the chat. Is he still in the chat? Bukas. Where are you at, buddy?
Crazy.
I saw him earlier in the chat.
Oh, well, I'm glad I didn't know that because I would have shit my pants.
Oh, he's gone now. But yeah, he was here earlier. He's the fucking ledge.
Super nice guy, super fucking legend. But he was posting about some of his plugins on Twitter. So I bought this thing for like $200, and it's essentially like it's an AI dynamic EQ. So I used it on my master as almost like mix correction. So you have all these, you have the parameters of like where it wants to be affected, high end, low end. But the cool thing about it is how it interacts between the recovery, like, recovering transients and kind of mixing the song. It almost like I said, it's an AI, EQ versus the taming, the bias of how the recover and the tame like intertwine. It's this wild plugin. So I'll play with it a little just for a few seconds, and you'll be able to hear it if you have a decent listening environment. So without it, let's just drop into.
Oh, audio is not working. Listen to is off.
Oh, god damn it.
I think it should be the same link though.
Oh,
just
okay,
turn it back on. Let's try it again.
That work or no?
Yeah, it works. It's just
Okay, cool.
distorting. I'm not sure why, but you're good. I fixed it.
All right, cool. Thanks, Max.
Oh, good.
All right, so yeah, without. Like it's I wish I could explain it better. Like honestly, I think it's like $150. You can get a demo version of it though, but what it did to my songs, like in terms of just doing less work on the mix down, just enough to be noticeable. You know what I mean? It's like you're 30 hours into a mix down. It kind of just glues stuff together, and it's basically a multi-band EQ, in real time to kind of compensate for certain areas that you might have missed or.
Yeah, the AI EQ game is going insane now in the world, like Soothe and Golfos. Very dope.
Oh, it's insane, man. Yeah, Soothe is cool. I haven't I have it, but I haven't dove into it as much as this particular plugin. So yeah, just if you guys are interested, there's the little logo right there.
Golfos is one of those fucking plugins that I've had in my just bank that just sits on ice for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I forgot about it like an idiot.
You know what I love about Ableton 10 is that they,
Yeah.
they made the collection thing where you
Yeah.
can like, put your favorites in a.
But you still have to click on those favorites.
You know what the biggest gripe I have, which I was talking about on Twitter a while back, is specific sample sorting or more intuitive sample sorting. Because you go into like your sample folder and you do bass D, or if I know how to spell anything that comes up with those letters is going to show up.
Right.
But like having to go through, and if you could have everything labeled out by key or BPM like that,
Yeah.
I hope is the next step.
Like that's how I navigate through Ableton, and just like the Command F real quick or whatever. Every time you type in serum, it's like every frozen serum you've ever frozen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it. I got to scroll all the way to the bottom.
So there's a little nitpicky shit we're getting into, but
Yes.
yeah. What else we got?
Okay, cool. What else we got? Yes, I do. Okay. What's your favorite song off your new EP?
Man, that one's tough. Honestly, I'd probably go with Particular Sound because it's just got that halftime vibe. It's that I'm super into right now. I teased it a little bit last year with a different EP on Patrick's label, but like I'm really having fun writing drum and bass and halftime, and it's getting me out of my comfort zone. So I really like that tune a lot.
Well, anyone knows that 174 at halftime drum group is the most fun tempo to write in.
It's the most fun to ride in. To me, it's the most fun to dance in. Like dubstep to me has become very undanceable outside of the headbang style.
Yeah.
It's the more mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, being a 30-year-old dude, if I'm at a show, I don't want to, like, I already go see a chiropractor. I don't need to be headbanging all the time. So like, I like the groove and the fucking bounce and the swing of that kind of music.
Yep. I agree with you 100%.
Also the fucking G-Space collab. I mean, Father Funk, I got Computer on there. I mean, that was my favorite EP that I've put out to date. Like,
yes.
So many legends on there.
Hell yeah. Okay. High Dog says, as someone new to music production, I'm curious about synths. I have plugins, but I want to go analog with my sounds. Are there any pros and cons to traditional synths versus Euro racks?
Actually, so my favorite album at the moment is Misanthrope.
Yeah.
The drum and bass producer.
The greatest.
His album called Analog from 2019. So if anyone out there is curious, that's my favorite album at the moment. And I went deep into the internet. I was like, there's got to be an interview or like a list of like, what did he use to make these sounds? Because it is just that full analog warmth. It's just phenomenal. But I found an interview where he talks about the synth that he uses called Diva. It's a UHE plugin.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about it. So I bought it for like $90, I think it was on sale for. And it is by far the closest to an analog emulation that I've ever heard, because I'm in the same boat as this dude. Like, I want to buy a grandmother, a Moog grandmother, and like, go down the whole rabbit hole.
Sure.
But also, it's a lot of fucking money. And if you're new to music production, I would probably suggest buying a $150 plugin first. Before you spend $1,500 and then realize that, like, dude, I have this Moog Minotaur that I used on this track on Psych Ward. I think it's the last time I used it. Like, it's just, for some reason, it just doesn't flow with me. I'm so used to how I work in the box, and that's probably me limiting myself. But this plugin is.
First off, it has the greatest init patch of all time.
Oh, 100%. In it, bruv.
Dude, I like to use the Diva init patch to write melodies with. If you like put it up high and put reverb on it, it just sounds amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, so this is my new favorite synth at the moment.
That's a valuable point though about if you are into the concept of analog gear, but you may not understand how complicated it is, and you might not be ready to like commit your entire life to analog gear, which is like it's complicated. It's not easy, you know. I mean at its ground level it's simple, but like as soon as you hit that notch where
Yeah,
you
you get into Euro racks and you start
Right.
getting the patch cables and
Sure.
signal flow. You forget how much they've simplified all of the technology from the last 40 years into this plugin.
Yeah.
Whether it's Serum or Massive.
Yeah.
Fuck. Talk to Buku, talk to Robert, and ask
Yeah.
how much time he fucking spends on his Euro rack. He's like, dude, I hate my life. It's like all I fucking do is twiddle, but nothing ever gets printed because it's too fun. I'll get way too deep into just fucking with sounds and not making anything concrete.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Like a kid with a Lego set, you're just like, ooh, I don't know what I'm building, but it's fucking fun.
Exactly, 100%. It's 4 years later.
Yeah. You got one track done. Like my first
Right.
analog track took 4 years. You got a gray beard and shit.
Oh shit! Yeah, and no one hears it.
Yeah, you got like 30 listeners on SoundCloud.
Like they love it.
Yeah.
They're like,
Brutal.
would have been better with Serum. No. All right.
Exactly.
Okay. Delia Ridge asks, could we get some pointers on layering? Thank you, smiley face.
Ooh, that's a good one. Layering in terms, I mean, I'll just go with drums. I think that's an easy one.
Cool.
It's not a great. Okay, there's some good snare layers in here. I'm pretty guilty about not layering my kicks and just sending them to a bus. So I have a drum bus, which is this Waves Renaissance compressor. Yeah, you know, if it sounds so good. I mean, if you don't have that, you can use a glue compressor from Ableton or whatever. But in terms of snares, like this song in particular, I have two different snares going, which is a good way to break up a song. You know what I mean? Have two separate snares so that they, you know, it just doesn't get boring. It makes it a little more interesting. So for this one, oh, you know what? I have one of your snares in here. Yeah.
Oh, Shiza.
Cymatics Protohype.
It's free.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I in exchange for doing that pack for them, I was like, I'll do it. Doesn't have to. The only thing you need to do to get this sample pack is just to subscribe on YouTube, and then my YouTube got hacked and deleted. So
Oh, are you serious?
yeah, horrible.
Oh shit.
But
Well,
I'm glad you still have it.
dude, I use your samples all the fucking time.
Hell yeah.
All the fucking time. They're fucking great.
Love that. Thank you.
Yeah. So in terms of layering, especially for snares, like your what is this? My little reggae snare. Yeah. So we have it's a little like reggae donk thing. I love using acoustic, and actually acoustic samples, especially for snare drums. I grew up playing the drums, so it just works with my ears better to use samples that sound real to me. It, you know, makes me feel like a real musician.
You are a real musician. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. God damn it.
Thanks, Dad.
Got you.
Yes.
What about the creative thought process behind that goes into layering? Like, are you looking for like one that like is like the main dude, and then like the others are kind of supporting acts, or is it multiple main dudes, or is it like, you know?
It depends on the song, but sometimes I'll have like three. You know, I'm working on a drum and bass or a halftime tune right now that has like four separate snare layers, but it's like using the transient from one, using the tail from another, using the body of another, and using transposing them to make sure they're all in the right key, using a phase alignment sort of thing. But that's just me being super nerdy about it. A lot of times it's just for overall thickness of the sound. But also it's a fun game to get two sounds that shouldn't really go together and then manipulating them to make it work.
I like that.
Which is you know, it's just a fun little game. So for that, super easy. I just use a couple snares in here. But the important thing for layering is you're going to end up having to EQ, some of the bullshit out of either one of those layers. Make sure you use what is it? Linear phase on your EQs, because essentially when you're EQing something, you're shifting the time of the audio sample. There's so many tutorials of like showing you A and B of what it looks like EQ'd versus not EQ'd. But if you use I'm a fan of Pro Q3. You use linear phase. It keeps all the phase of your different layers in line without losing anything at any time. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It does. That's a valid point. I think that I also know that just like cuts on EQs work better with linear phase.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about boosting, but I know that cutting for sure.
At the end of the day, for me, it's still what sounds good.
Right. You're right.
But for the guys out there that are curious, like look up linear EQ and how to use it, how not to use it, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Cool.
But real quick, I don't know if I have any in here specifically, but when I layer my basses, if I have a couple different layers or something, I'll duplicate. So I'll have the main sound. Say we have, let's just do this real quick. How about that? We'll show them that I can actually do something in here. All right. So if we take this, just freeze and flatten it real quick. We'll just run through this. Why not?
Let's do it.
It's gonna take a second to freeze and flatten, but this is something that I just learned in the last couple of years that is so helpful for getting like a beefier sound overall, and having it pop out without doing anything too crazy or something that we end up with a lot of paper thin sounds, and you're like, how the fuck do I get this to be big and awesome? So okay, we'll freeze that. We'll flatten it. I'll duplicate it. So like if I felt like the song was too thin or the sound was too thin, I'd change it down to Complex or Complex Pro. I'd probably drop it down an octave. I'd throw on, a little high pass and low pass, because I don't want, all of my frequencies interacting too hard. I mean, you just really want the beef of your layer. Like your layers, in my opinion, should be the extra salt and pepper on top of your main sound. So just make a little curve like that. See, it sounds like shit, but if you turn it down, 10 or 15 dB, and then put it with this other one, you don't really hear, if you heard it by itself, it sucks. But that's just an easy way to kind of glue layers together and make it sound thicker. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's quick and easy. Like I said, I'm all about quick and easy of just trying to get the sound right.
Dope. Okay. When is that tune you just posted on Twitter coming? Haha, I need that.
The fuck? Oh, you know what? It's a song. It's a song from 2017 that I put out on SoundCloud, but it had Missy Elliott vocals, so it never got a proper release. You know what I mean? Just copyright bullshit. So
Right.
I wanted to revamp it, and I had a rapper from LA. She did a verse on it. I'm not going to say who it is yet because I'm stoked. I just got the cuts back today, but
Okay.
hopefully
Okay.
next 3 or 4 months.
See you next year.
Yeah, well, you know how releases go.
Yes.
Like most of the songs that people hear, you were finished with 8 to 12 months ago.
It's true.
It's crazy.
Ugh. It do be like that.
It does. It does.
Okay, cool. Dragon wants to know which comes first, famous DJ or tattoo sleeves?
For me, it was tattoos.
Yeah.
Growing up a drummer, Travis Barker, Blink-182 is like one of my favorite bands. So like he was the god to me. So as soon as I turned 18, I fucking just started going off.
Fair enough. Okay.
I would actually say don't do that unless you know that you're not going to work in a
Right.
quote unquote real job for your life.
Quote unquote, for sure. Okay. Do either one of you have a special set or over the top creative thing you've been curating for when the pandemic is over and things are back to normal?
Like DJ set? Not really, man. I have one that I really like right now that I've kind of been building on. So I guess you could say that it is because I haven't really had many sets other than the drive-ins. But I've been curating this little guy. Nothing crazy though.
Little guy. Yeah, I don't know. I did that set in the woods. I had been curating that for a while, but no.
It's pretty easy
Music
to put together DJ sets now, but it's really fun. Like it just comes natural to me after doing it for so long. I'll usually do it in my hotel room before the show just to kill time.
Yeah.
But I am due for a new mix out on SoundCloud or something soon. I should probably get on that.
Right. Nicolette says, not a question, but after the stream, I respect you so much more as an artist. You're a great man. Keep it up. Oh, she said, you're a great man, not you're a great man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I like this. This is cool because, it's like doing a podcast or, just something that shows people, hey, that's a real fucking human being. It's not an untouchable entity on social media. Like,
that's the goal. I mean, like,
I love it.
It's I'm thank you for doing it, man. It's been great. We just have one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Also, there's a everyone should like just donate money real quick. No, don't support me. Not me. SubDocta at SubDocta on Venmo. Like if everybody just gives $1 or 10, then there'll be $400. Don't give money to me. I don't care. It's not for me. I mean, I do care. I love you. I love you.
Appreciate it.
Anyways, I just needed to say that just in case you guys missed it in the chat. The last question here is another just a little producing one. Marky says, does the UAD plugins have a learning curve? He just copped an Apollo and just wondering how it is.
No. And what's cool is that with the UAD stuff, if you can demo all their plugins through the the hell's it called? The control panel, the console that comes with it. And it's every time you buy a plugin, they reset all your demos for you. So if you buy a plugin for $40, they reset everything and they give you like full 2-week usage. It doesn't like cut out every 30 seconds, have audio drop or whatever.
That's nice.
The downside is some of them are kind of expensive, which is why they give you such like long demos.
So expensive.
Yeah.
They really are pro though. Like that is some, I'm a professional music producer. I spend my money on expensive plugins. Do I need to? I don't know. Yeah. If you're an audiophile, yeah, but
yeah. There's definitely a few that are worth it though. You know what I mean? That I use that I would spend the money on again, just because, I think they're genius.
Right.
They help me. Even with the placebo effect.
And you know what? The placebo effect, that bitch works.
I'll fucking run with it all day, dude.
More sugar cubes, please.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, dude. Do you have anything you want to say on the end? Anything you want to promote? Anything you're working on?
No, I just want to say if you guys stuck around for this long, I appreciate it. Hope you guys learned something. This is new for me. It's the first time I've ever really gone into any tracks with, especially an audience.
Dude, so and I know it's not easy for everybody, so I really appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, hope you guys learned something. If not, honestly, if anyone has questions, I always answer Twitter and Instagram if they're nice, if they're nice messages.
Yes.
So feel free to hit me up. And thanks for listening and thanks for supporting Max and this really cool platform that he's doing for us.
Yeah, so the video will be up on VODs for the next 10 days before it goes on YouTube. So if you want to watch it again, just subscribe to the channel. If not, it's all good. No worries. But I appreciate you, Preston, and I will see you later, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for having me, man. I miss you.
I
hope
miss
you're
you too,
out
bro.
There and actually, one of my best friends from Reno, just moved out to Nashville. So as soon as the pandy slows down, I'm gonna go out and see him, and we'll have to link up.
Yeah, dude. I have an extra bed here for you.
Sick. Sounds good, brother. All right.
All
Thank
right,
you
brother.
so much.
I'll see you soon, man.
All right. Later.
Later, bro. Yo, thank you guys so much for hanging out. You guys are the coolest. Shout out to SubDocta, the fucking king. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for everyone for subscribing and following and donating money to SubDocta. You guys are really dope. Cool. Let's go raid. Let's go raid Midnight Tea. How about that? Love you guys. Puppy Crew for life.
Max out here with the Puppy Crew raid. What's going on, boys? What's going on? But yeah, so fucking, yeah, right now we're playing Demon Souls. We're currently lost in the giant mega prison of Latria. That's where we are right now. Pretty fun. What's the difference between Manhattan Mongoose and Midnight Tea? Manhattan Mongoose is my hip-hop side alias that I make beats on. But I decided to make it my Twitch name to make the community from Twitch a part of that, as well as Midnight Tea. Yeah, the rebrand.